Hello, everyone. Imagine a room filled with the world's most powerful leaders, where the air hums with diplomacy, tension, and the occasional glitchy teleprompter. Today, September 23rd, 2025, the United Nations General Assembly in New York became the stage for one of the most talked about speeches in recent memory. President Donald Trump, in his second term, took the podium for a marathon 55-minute address that blended bold declarations, sharp critiques, and a hefty dose of self-praise. While the UN is no stranger to controversy, Trump's remarks sparked immediate debates, fact checks, and even a few chuckles over technical mishaps. Tonight, we dive deep into what was said, why it matters, and the ripples it's sending across the globe. Let's break it down. First, a quick backdrop for those tuning in. The UN General Assembly, or UNGA, is the annual gathering where heads of state from nearly 200 countries converge to tackle humanity's biggest challenges, from wars to climate woes. This year's 80th session is particularly charged, with ongoing conflicts in Gaza and Ukraine dominating the agenda, alongside economic pressures and migration debates. Trump, known for his America First mantra, arrived amid high expectations and tight security, including a recent bust of over 300 SIM servers in New York. That could have disrupted communications, a reminder that even global summits aren't immune to shadowy threats. As Trump approached the podium, a technical hiccup set the tone. His teleprompter malfunctioned. With a wry grin, he quipped, "I don't mind making this speech without a teleprompter, because the teleprompter is not working," adding that whoever is operating this teleprompter is in big trouble. It's a light moment in an otherwise intense address, proving that even world leaders can fall victim to the same tech gremlins that plague our Zoom calls. But from there, the speech shifted gears into a no-holds-barred critique of the UN itself. Trump didn't mince words about the organization he's long viewed with skepticism. He questioned its purpose and efficiency, arguing it's become paralyzed and irrelevant in a world of rapid change. The UN has got great potential, but they got to get their act together. It's not being well run, and they're not doing the job, he echoed from earlier statements. He called for sharper accountability in peacekeeping missions, emphasizing clear goals and measurable outcomes, a nod to U.S. frustrations over funding. America contributes about 22% of the UN budget, yet Trump highlighted perceived imbalances, like the body's focus on condemning Israel while electing representatives from regimes like Iran to human rights panels. It's a fair point in the context of efficiency debates, but one that risks alienating allies who see the UN as a vital, if imperfect, forum for global cooperation. Subtly, it feels like Trump was channeling that classic boardroom energy. You're fired unless you shape up. Turning to military conflicts, Trump addressed two major flashpoints with a mix of optimism and resolve. On the war in Gaza, he urged an immediate halt, stating the conflict must be stopped immediately. This comes amid escalating violence, including Israeli forces advancing deeper into Gaza City, heavy shelling, and reports of 640,000 people evacuating since orders were issued. Tragically, the day also saw the kidnapping and murder of an aid escort leader in Gaza, with his clan blaming Hamas forces, underscoring the chaos and famine gripping the region. Trump's call echoes broader unease, like Secretary General Antonio Guterres' warning of unprecedented death and destruction in Gaza, outpacing any conflict in his tenure. Yet the speech coincided with a wave of countries, including France, Britain, and Canada, recognizing Palestinian statehood, a move the U.S. downplayed. As unhelpful without direct negotiations, it's a delicate balance, urging peace while navigating alliances, much like walking a tightrope over a geopolitical chasm. On Ukraine, Trump marked a notable shift, declaring that the country is now positioned to fight and win back its original borders against Russia. This contrasts with past rhetoric and aligns with ongoing U.S. support, including drone agreements and weapon purchases discussed in meetings with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. However, the broader picture is grim. Ukraine faces deepening military, political, and economic woes 3.5 years into the invasion, with Russia failing to achieve quick victories but continuing to grind forward. Trump also claimed credit for ending 7 wars without assistance, citing examples like Egypt-Ethiopia disputes, Serbia-Kosovo tensions, and Congo-Rwanda hostilities. While bold, these assertions drew quick scrutiny. For instance, the Egypt-Ethiopia issue centered on a dam, not a raging war, and hostilities in Congo-Rwanda persist. It's a reminder that in the arena of international claims, fact-checkers are always warming up in the bullpen. Economics took center stage next, with Trump touting America's resurgence. He boasted of defeating inflation, though current figures show it ticking up slightly from 2.7% to 2.9% and attracting $17 trillion in investments, a number his own team later pegged closer to $9 trillion, with some doubts lingering. Grocery prices up due to tariffs. Per analysts, electricity costs have risen 6.2% year over year, yet Trump painted a picture of unparalleled prosperity, warning Europe that their immigration and climate policies are ruining their countries and eroding heritage. On climate, his denial-tinged remarks drew sharp reactions, labeled reckless and disruptive by observers, especially as he criticized green initiatives while noting China's lead in wind power. It's a stance that clashes with priorities, where climate change tops the list of existential threats. One can't help but muse, if climate policies are destroying Europe, what's the forecast for a planet ignoring them altogether? Immigration emerged as another flashpoint. Trump lambasted global migration trends, telling European leaders their countries are being ruined by unchecked flows. This ties into broader U.S. policies, like a recent $100,000 annual fee on H-1B visas, aimed at curbing what he sees as economic drains. But in a world of interconnected crises, from Middle Eastern instability to Russian aggression, migration isn't just a border issue. It's a symptom of deeper global inequities. Trump's warnings resonate with some, but risk oversimplifying a complex web, much like blaming the traffic jam on one bad driver. The speech wasn't without its broader vision. Trump emphasized themes of peace, sovereignty, and liberty, nations charting their own courses, defending freedoms, and pushing back against censorship. He closed on an uplifting note: let's build a bright, beautiful planet. Safer, better, more beautiful. Let's start now. God bless the nations of the world. It's a call to action that, if genuine, could inspire collaboration. Yet reactions poured in swiftly. On social media, critics called it unhinged and a tsunami of lies, with one observer noting it as perhaps the worst speech by any U.S. president at the UNGA. Supporters, however, praised its candor, with full videos circulating widely. Even Turkish President Erdogan weighed in earlier, criticizing silence on Gaza, while Russian diplomats reportedly reacted with amusement. Protests outside the UN added to the drama, with demonstrators arrested for blocking roads, a visual of the passions this event stirs. And in a side note, Trump's meetings with leaders like Zelensky, EU Commission President Ursula von der Leyen, and Arab nations hint at behind-the-scenes diplomacy on Gaza and beyond. So what does this mean for the world? Trump's address highlights America's pivotal role in global affairs, but it also underscores divisions within the UN. If the organization is indeed sliding into irrelevance, as some fear, speeches like this could either catalyze reform or deepen fractures. For viewers, it is a stark reminder. In an era of interconnected threats from Iranese drone tech aiding Russia to minority unrest in Iran itself, unity isn't optional. It's essential. Yet, applying consistent standards to all conflicts, whether in the Middle East or Eastern Europe, remains the gold standard for fairness. As we wrap up, consider this. In a speech full of claims and critiques, the real story might be the conversations it sparks. Will it lead to action on Gaza or Ukraine, or just more headlines? Stay tuned, the UNGA continues, and so does the global drama. Thank you for watching. Until tomorrow.